Oh yeah, pipe smokers, yeah. This is the Paul Gilson YouTube channel. I'm Paul Gilson, aka Paul the Pipe Guy. And we're coming to you live from Rochester, New York. In the United States of America, it's Wednesday, the 13th of August, 2025, yeah. So let's have something to smoke together. So grab your favorite pipe, grab your favorite beverage, grab your favorite blend, and let's start something on fire together. Yeah. Yeah, so tonight we're smoking my beautiful Mr. Bragg number 86 Champion. And what a gorgeous pipe, gorgeous briar. I've had this for a few years. It's still like brand new, but it's broken in pretty good. And in that we have some 5-year-old, over 5 years old, Northwest track from the Country Squire. And this I got on 6/20 of 2020. So we're going to set that on fire right now. Oh, this is good. If you get a chance to buy, a Mr. Bragg number 86 Champion, don't be afraid to buy it. It has just a classic look to it. I love how the crown on the bowl is beveled. Just a great smoking pipe. So I had a couple people this morning that were like, hey man, what happened to last night's video? I started to watch it and all of a sudden it's erased. Well, it was 90 something degrees yesterday, over 110 in the shop. And I came home and I did a 22-minute video. Then after thinking about it, I was just like, you know what? I don't like the content. I don't like the topic that I discussed. And I was like, this shouldn't be something that is discussed on this YouTube channel. So I wasn't proud of myself about it, you know. It basically involved some guy text messaging me on Facebook who I don't know and asking if I wanted to share the night with him and his wife. That's all I'm going to say about it. And then I went on to some other things, telling him some stories about people that I knew in the past that used to do things like that. So I just felt it wasn't the right content or topics that I want represented on my YouTube channel. So I erased it. That doesn't happen very often, but I did have one subscriber. He said, that's twisted, Paul. I can't hear this stuff. You know, I'm unsubscribing, sorry, you know. And I guess I don't blame him, you know. So, I don't know, that's our house cleaning. Some of you did see it and made your comments. That's why I took it down. Anyways. So yeah, so it is hot as blue blazes. It's currently in the house 81 degrees, 66% humidity, which is pretty high. It's hot and humid. Only got a little more of this to go. So it's funny, my mortgage payment is supposed to be X number of dollars. The last two statements that they sent me, I'll have my second payment due on the 1st of September. The payment's like $60 too little. So last month, my first payment, I paid what the payment was supposed to be, which is like $60 more than what the bill was for. Then I call up and the automated system tells me the correct payment that's due. And so I call up customer service and the guy can't figure it out. Well, I don't know why you'd get a bill for $60 less. And he keeps interrupting me and this and that. And we just weren't seeing eye to eye. And I was like, all right, never mind. I'll just pay the amount I know is due, not what your statement that was sent to me is, and it'll be okay. But I did notice there was $60 more that went into towards the actual paying the house down, towards the principal. So I don't know what this bank's up to. All I know is I can prove that I made the monthly payment. If they're looking at that $60 as an overage and put it towards the principal, it's on them. I made the payment. And that's where it's important, where you save all your statements on stuff, you know. You write confirmation numbers down, so forth. Because all of a sudden they could come up and say, oh, you know, well, we've had $600 that went to your principal that wasn't supposed to. Well, sorry, you misappropriated the funds. What do you want from me? So I went and I think I mentioned this. My Subaru started having like a humming noise in the back. And then it started to get worse. And then worse. Almost to like a growl. And so I had to take Monday off because I have an extended warranty on the vehicle. The extended warranty, the company is not open on the weekend. So the shop has to diagnose the problem, send in the claim for approval. Once they get approval, they do the work, and then they get payment from the warranty company. So I had about $800 worth. I had 2 wheel bearings along with the hubs that were totally covered, zero deductible under my warranty. They also noticed that there was a rear strut that was leaking. The warranty company denied that and said, oh no, that's a shock. Well, on Subarus, they have 4 struts. It is not just a shock. It's an actual tower with a spring in it, and it's not a shock. It's an actual. So I'm going to call the warranty company myself and explain to them, look, you can look it right up on the internet. Subaru Imprezas have 4 struts, and the one in the rear is gone. It's blown out. Is the car safe to drive? Yeah. I also put on the invoice that my rear brake pads were getting real low, almost metal to metal. So I've got a guy at work, very good mechanic. He's one of our top maintenance guys. And they wanted $600 to put pads and rotors on the rear of the car, which is like totally outrageous. And obviously that's not covered under warranty. So I talked to my buddy Bill. I says, hey man, when do you think you can get me in? And he's like, a week from this Saturday. I said, how much will it be? He says, you buy the parts. He says, I'll replace both the pads and the rotors and only charge you $60 labor. So pads, I'm guessing, are probably about $20 a piece. So that's $40 in pads. And rotors are probably about $30 a piece, I'm guessing. So that's $60. So we're talking $100 in parts, $60 in labor, $160. And I only drive like 4,000 miles a year. So, and then he said, you know, I'm going to try to get this rear strut covered under this warranty company. I'm going to fight with them on it. And if they still refuse to do it, he said he'll do it for like $100, and the part I can order online for like $100. So we'll see. At least $800 in wheel bearings is covered. And the car, there's no more whining noise. It started to get real loud. I was afraid to drive it. That's why I took the day off Monday and got it in the shop. Got it in there at 7:30. They had the approval from the warranty company and the work done. There was a speed sensor that they broke, which when they were taking things apart, and I said, look, I understand I used to run shops, so they only charged me what the part cost, which was $130. I said, I get it. They said, but we're going to call tomorrow because that's a covered item under your warranty. So I said, fine, just give me in-store credit. You know, I'll pay the bill, just give me in-store credit so we don't have to jerk around. So, you know, when I go to get an oil change or something like that, I'll get an oil change, tire rotation, and it'll be free. That $130 I paid will go towards that. It's good to be fair with people, you know. Oh, yeah. But Subarus, as long as you change the oil, they run forever. I had a guy that used to run a shop, and he would come in. He only wanted to deal with me. He'd be like, where's Paul? Otherwise, I'm coming back if he's not here. And the reason why he just wanted to deal with me was because he knew I was honest. And he had a Subaru Impreza. And he was a salesman, drove 1 million miles, had a big territory. He had like 800,000 or 900,000 on this. But every time he came in, it'd be like, Paul, what's due? I would tell him, okay, this is due. And then I'm going to mark it on your invoice. Either next oil change or the following oil change after that, you're going to be due for these other items. Because the year that he had of Subaru, you had to change the front and rear differentials fluid every 15,000 miles. They didn't use the synthetic fluid. Transmission, they wanted that oil in the transmission changed every 30,000 miles. They wanted a coolant flush done every 60,000 miles, I think it was. So there's no way I'm paying $600 for half a brake job, meaning just the rear tires. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. I can get it done for $160. This guy has a lift. He says I even got a waiting room with a TV. He's got his own little shop, but you know, he just does cash under the table. And, you know, he's got more work than he can handle, and, you know, I can see why, you know. He says, you come on out, bring the car out. I'll have the brakes and rotors done in an hour and a half tops. You can sit down, watch TV, relax. Well, that's pretty cool. It's good to know people like that. And, you know, and this guy's not a backyard mechanic. This guy used to build race cars. He still has a race car that he races and works on. He knows more than these technicians at like Firestone and Goodyear and all of them places. Way more. Oh, I forgot we had a beer here. There we go. Pabst Blue Ribbon. Cheers. Yeah. This over 5-year-old Northwest track is so good. I thought about taking this, which is, I can't remember how many ounces, 8 ounces of new Northwest track, and throwing it in to the 5-year-old stuff. And I'm like, no, wait a minute. What are you, stupid? Don't do that. You want to keep the vintage stuff separate. I think our pipe's just about done. We'll be back in a nanosecond. Yeah, so we've graduated to a cigarette. So I think I told you about the deal that I had, because Spectrum, which is the local internet and cable TV service here, that's real popular. I've been with them for 41 years. They contacted me with an offer I really couldn't refuse. My cell phone bill was like 85 bucks through Verizon. They said, here's what we'll do. We'll give you your phone, you switch it over to us from Verizon. You won't have a monthly payment on your cell phone for 12 months. After 12 months, it'll be $30 a month. And you'll get your internet, high-speed internet, 500 megabits per second for $30 a month for 2 years, and then it'll go to $45. So I call Verizon to get, there's some PIN number you need to transfer your phone over. And I got this guy from India, and he's like, man, he says, you've been a Verizon customer for over 20 years. We'd hate to lose you. Let me see what I can work out. I said, well, how are you going to beat Zero? And I said, but I do know about cell phones. I know that if you're with Verizon, and if their cell towers get overloaded, too busy, these other people like Spectrum and Straight Talk that do use Verizon towers, they get kicked off of the platform. And then the true Verizon customers that are with Verizon get preferential treatment. So, and also your phone, the unlimited data that they give you is faster and so forth. And so he came back a couple times. I was on the phone with him for a half hour. And he came back and he's like, how's $55 a month sound? I know it's not zero, but I said, you know what? You got a deal. You have a deal. I mean, because in a year, it's going to be $30. Plus, I'm sure they're going to have taxes on top of that. He said, no, you're out the door. Monthly payment will be 55 bucks. And then in a year, if that changes, call us back and we'll switch it back to the 55 bucks. We want to keep your business. And I said, you got it. I'm not afraid to pay for something where you're going to get better service, you know. And so some you people may say, why would you pay 55 bucks more? Because the reality of it is, in a year, it's going to be $30 plus taxes. It'll probably be 40 bucks with taxes. And I'm $55 out the door. I'll just stick with Verizon. I've been with them for so long. You know, my insurance company for my auto policy and the last home that I owned and this house is with the same company. And yeah, I could probably save a little bit of money. Between homeowners insurance and auto insurance, I could probably save a couple $100 a month if I went to an independent agent. But the thing is, then I'd have to deal with some idiot overseas. If there's ever a problem or if I ever have a question, I call my agent up and they give me the answers, they fix it, they always look how to give me lower premiums, and I've been with them for over 30 years. So I have a dedication and you know, a loyalty to the companies that I do business with. And if they're willing to go the extra mile, you know, to keep my business, and I see that, I'm going to stay with them. I've never even shopped around for a different auto insurance policy. I'm not going to. I mean, my insurance is like for full coverage is like $1,000 a year. My homeowner's insurance is $1,000 a year. So for homeowners and full coverage on your car, $2,000 a year. I don't think that's, or not. And like I said, I might be able to go somewhere else and get it for $1,600 or $1,700. But for $25 a month, I'm not going to leave this guy. No way. He's always there for me. Some people will sell you down the road for a nickel. I've never been that way. I remember one time, as a young man, and I had my finance partner. I was a finance manager at a car dealership, and I had a partner. We worked together. There was two of us. So there was always coverage in the finance department. And the owner and general manager came to me one day and said, "Hey, how would you like to run the whole department by yourself and make double the money that you're making now?" And I was like, "Well, what would happen to Warren, my partner?" "Oh, we'll fire him." I said, "I'll tell you what, he's my partner, okay? He's been there for me. This guy used to make me take Mother's Day off and work for me. He said, 'My mom's gone. You still have a mom. Go enjoy your day with your mom. I'll work the Mother's Day.'" And, you know, all sorts of stuff like that. And he was prior Special Forces. He really didn't talk about that at all, but I knew he was. I got to know him pretty well. And I said, "I'll tell you what, I don't care about the money, all right? If you fire Warren, I'll be working for your competition today, because I will quit. I'm not throwing my partner under the bus so I can make, instead of, this was back in the 80s, and I was making 70 grand a year. I could have made 140, 150,000 a year. But I'd have to throw this guy under the bus. He's a family man with a mortgage and kids. I'm not going to do that. That's a scumbag thing. And they just couldn't understand it, because money was their God. The owner of the dealership, the general manager, money was their God. And they're like, "But we don't understand. Why won't you take our offer?" I said, "Because he's my partner. He's also got a family." And then I went and told them. Because I figured they might go around to him and say, "Hey, if we fire Paul." Well, I would have told him anyways. I mean, I made him a ton of money, but no more car business days for me. Cheers. Well, I'm Paul the Pipe Guy. I hope you enjoyed our smoke together tonight. God bless you all. Happy Wednesday. And Paul the Pipe Guy is going to relax, so peace over, but not out.